Welcome to the Balanced Blood Sugar Podcast, where we focus on everyday wellness for everyone. I'm Adrienne Wheat, a registered nurse, here to share tips, habits, and lifestyle shifts that can help you feel your best by stabilizing blood sugar and improving your overall health. Everything we discuss is designed for general health and routine education because everyone deserves to feel empowered with the right information. But I'm not your personal nurse, so make sure to check with your healthcare provider before making any changes. Let's dive into today's episode. Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Balanced Blood Sugar Podcast. I'm Adrienne Wheat, a registered nurse and holistic wellness advocate, and today we're stepping into your kitchen, the heart of your home and the foundation of your blood sugar success. In this episode, we'll talk about the pantry staples you need to keep cravings at bay and your blood sugar balanced, quick and easy snack ideas that satisfy, how to batch cook and freeze meals for stress-free eating, and why preparation beats willpower every single time. So grab your grocery list and let's dive in. First up, let's talk pantry staples. Think of your pantry as your toolbox for balanced blood sugar. When it's stocked with the right ingredients, you're more likely to make healthy choices. So let's talk about some low-carb staples to keep on hand. First up, nuts and seeds. Almonds, walnuts, mixed nuts, sunflower seeds, and chia seeds are perfect for snacking, adding crunch to meals, or whipping up a quick fat bomb or low-carb pudding. You can also add in nut butters for this as well, as a keto peanut butter and sugar-free jelly sandwich is always a great go-to. Next, let's talk about some low glycemic flours. Almond flour and coconut flour are the main staples in our pantry and are fantastic alternatives to traditional flours. These can be used for baking or breading. Crushed up pork rinds can also make fantastic breading for things like chicken tenders or fried chicken. So we try to keep a variety of low glycemic flours and pork rinds on hand for all the different things that we do in the kitchen. We also keep healthy oils. We keep a main stock of olive oil, avocado oil, and coconut oil for cooking, sauteing, bulletproof coffee, and even making salad dressings and marinades. You want to stay away from canola oil and vegetable oil because these are actually made of ingredients that are really inflammatory. And as we've talked in previous episodes, inflammation is one of the things that leads to chronic disease. So trying to choose ingredients that are low inflammatory, like these olive, avocado, and coconut oils, is going to help not only balance your blood sugar, but lower your systemic inflammation as well, which is going to keep that cortisol low in order to help your body be less insulin resistant. Okay, so next, sweetener alternatives. We have talked quite a lot before about these, but the main staples we go to are allulose, monk fruit, and erythritol. These are great for sweet treats without the sugar spikes. And as we discussed before, allulose is especially great for gut health and the transition from sugar, since it's such a similar taste to sugar and it behaves very similarly like sugar in the majority of recipes. So that's, if you're going to choose one, that's the one I would usually go for. Next, let's talk about canned goods. We like to keep a variety of low-carb canned goods on hand, like canned or packaged chicken, tuna, salmon, or sardines. These can make a really great quick protein, as well as low-carb spaghetti sauce and shirataki or hearts of palm noodles, or even rice cauliflower. We like to keep a lot of those canned goods on hand because having these options is super helpful for days when meal planning and cooking just doesn't happen. We can quickly throw together a spaghetti or, some type of low carb meal with those options on hand. We also like to keep a variety of spices since you do mainly most of your own cooking at home when you have a blood sugar friendly diet. We keep a variety of spices on hand: cinnamon, turmeric, paprika, onion and garlic powder, they can elevate any dish and definitely support your blood sugar health in the process. And these ingredients are not only versatile, but they can also keep you on track when hunger strikes. So the key is to make healthy options the easiest options, okay? So if you're just starting to stock your pantry, prioritize what you use the most. Do you bake every day? Do you cook every week? Then start with flours and sweeteners and swap those out. If you're all about quick meals, make sure that you have good canned and packaged goods on hand and oils to make quick, simple, rice cauliflower with salmon and lemon juice or something, so just try to make sure you have on hand the things that you're going to use the most. Okay, let's talk some snacks. Now, the right snacks can bridge the gap between meals and prevent blood sugar roller coasters. So a quick list of snacks that we always have ready. Let's see, hard-boiled eggs. These are high in protein and quick to grab. These are especially easy if you have one of those little boiled egg making machines. Oh my goodness. We grabbed one on Black Friday and it is a game changer for speed and ease of use. Boiled eggs are my toddler's go-to favorite snack. So it's great to be able to make like a half a dozen boiled eggs in less time than it takes to boil water. Like you literally put them in these little machines and dump a tiny bit of water in it. And it's like one of those electric kettles, but instead it's for boiling eggs. And oh my goodness, it is fantastic. So we have one of those. I'm usually using it at least 2 to 3 times a week. We keep them on hand. Now, if the idea of peeling boiled eggs intimidates you, as it has done me in the past, one of the quickest ways is when it's done cooking, dunk them into cold water, and then we put them in the fridge. And then when it's time to peel them, put them in like a coffee mug and just shake it. If you put one in a coffee mug and shake it, oh my goodness, it just peels so much easier. So that's what we do now. And it is so much easier to have them on hand and use them more often. We also have cheese sticks and slices. These are great to pair with nuts for a balanced snack, or maybe you're a fruit person and you want a couple slices of an apple or something with cheese or a nut butter. We also do veggies and dips. So we like sliced cucumbers, bell peppers, celery. You can pair it with guacamole or peanut butter or Greek yogurt dip. Oh my goodness. We love taking plain Greek yogurt and just adding like onion and garlic powder and some salt and dill. And oh my goodness, it makes an amazing dip. And you don't have to worry about all the other stuff they add into them at the store. We also always have dark chocolate. We're a huge chocolate family, so we always have some Bake Believe chocolate chips or dark chocolate on hand for those chocolate cravings. Now, they will say if you're craving chocolate, sometimes that's a sign of magnesium deficiency. So we do supplement with magnesium pretty often around here as well. But we do like keeping chocolate on hand. So you want to look for an 85% or higher cacao content for a low sugar chocolate treat. So that's something super easy to keep on hand in a snack box or something. And then finally, you can do some homemade fat bombs or other homemade treats that you keep in the freezer. Fat bombs are really great to make in advance and store in your fridge or freezer. You can use ingredients like almond butter, coconut oil, and unsweetened cocoa powder, and then you can kind of sweeten it to taste. There are a plethora of recipes all over the internet for fat bombs. So you can just search keto fat bombs, and you're definitely going to find some recipes that match the ingredients you prefer. Like some people don't like the taste of coconut flour. So like you can find some recipes with almond flour or peanut butter versus almond butter. Whatever it is, there are more than enough recipes out there for endless combinations for you to make fat bombs to your preference and just keep them on hand in the freezer or fridge. And just remember, snacking doesn't have to derail your progress. You just want to focus on keeping simple things on hand and combining protein with healthy fats and fiber, like from veggies, to keep your cravings in check and your blood sugar stable throughout the day. Another quick snack tip is to keep single serving packages of olives, nut butter, nuts, or low carb crackers, or shelf stable vegetables like carrots. Things that are more shelf stable and are perfect for when you're out and about. So like you can pack a little snack bag of nuts and things like that. That's usually what my husband likes to take to work. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this prepping. So let's move on to the nitty-gritty of blood sugar-friendly meals. If you've been on this road for a while, you know that it's very difficult to find blood sugar-friendly meals out and about at a restaurant. So typically, it means that you're going to be making most of your meals at home. Now, preparation is your secret weapon. A little effort up front in the planning and prep side can save you so much stress and decision fatigue during the week. And it's so much easier to do that up front. So let's talk a little bit about meal planning. And while this might seem to be a bit of a struggle at first, with practice and experimentation, I know that you can find something that will work for you and your family. And having the stress of meals off the table each week will really help you avoid that 5 p.m. DoorDash fast food order. I know, been there, done that. But the more I can prep ahead of time, the less likely that is to happen. So don't make it complicated. That's what I want to say straight up. Instead of trying to do 5 to 7 new meals per week, try to focus on one breakfast, like one breakfast for the week. Around here, a lot of times that's sheet pan pancakes. You know, they're super easy. We can snack on it for the whole week. And then try and do like 2 to 3 dinners when you're just starting out. You know, trying to cook every single night can be really hard. So if you can focus on doing like 2 to 3 dinners, and then you can double or triple that recipe and use it for lunches and other dinners during the week. So you're not having to cook every night. So like you can make a dish on Tuesday and double or triple it, and then make a different dish on Wednesday, and then use the Tuesday dinner on Thursday. You know, so however it works for you, try not to overwhelm yourself so much in the beginning, or otherwise you're just going to stop. And so then when you find a weekly plan that works for you, try to keep the same weekly plan for like a month. Once you have a solid plan with at least one breakfast, and at this point, usually at least 4 dinners, you could up it to 5 to 7, and then you can do a doubling and do leftovers for lunch. But then if you keep that same weekly plan for like a month, it's just so much easier than having to plan every single week. And it's varied enough during the week that people don't get bored, and you can switch it up next month, you know? Also, use favorites to your advantage. Do you have a dish that your family absolutely loves? Then use it to your advantage. In our home, Mediterranean sausage made with rice cauliflower, artichoke, Kalamata olives, and sausage gets pulled out almost weekly every single month because it's a family favorite. And so you can reuse or rotate weekly or monthly what people won't get sick of. Like my husband just loves the Mediterranean sausage, and it's easy for me to cook. I just saute it all in a pan and it's done. You know, the sausage is already cooked. We get like the rope sausage, you know, you want to look for sugar-free ones as much as possible. But, you know, that's one that we use almost weekly because it's simple. Everybody loves it. Nobody gets tired of it. And so it just stays in rotation, you know, so whatever makes it easier for you. Sometimes we do a pot roast with radishes and carrots. They're a little higher carb, but you know, you can choose what other things you want, but sometimes we'll do a pot roast on a weekend, you know, just try and keep things simple for you and your family and reuse the dishes that people aren't going to care about eating more than once. Next, let's talk about batch cooking and freezing. So this is amazing if you can plan it out and make it happen. So dinners for lunches. When you're cooking dinner, try to at least double the recipe. And then you can pack leftovers in individual portions for easy grab and go lunches. And if you triple or quadruple the recipe, you can throw half of it in the freezer to use later. This is what I recommend a lot for our solo people or for couples. You can easily cook more than enough because most recipes are for family size. So you can easily cook more than enough and then pack or freeze the rest for like simple, quick, and easy meals, especially if you pack them in like individual portions or like a little quart Ziploc bag. Like put a whole portion in a quart Ziploc bag and lay it flat in the freezer and boom, you know, there you go. I used to do this a lot when I was single to save on food cost. So my fridge may have mostly been empty, but my freezer was always stocked with quick and healthy meals. You can also do breakfast in bulk. You can prepare like a batch of egg muffins and then just toss them in the freezer, or sheet pan pancakes, which we love to do. You can freeze those for busy mornings. Chocolate chip sheet pan pancakes are a staple around here. Everybody loves them, so they come out very often. Now, I will say, All Day I Dream About Food is a blog, and it is packed with amazing recipes, even freezer-friendly ones like your cupcakes, cookies, and bars. Keeping things on hand for when your sweet tooth strikes or when meal planning has gone out the window for the week, it really helps to make sure that you have quick treats and meals ready to go without throwing off all your goals. So when I want a new recipe for something, the All Day I Dream About Food blog is always my first stop. Now, I will say it can be a bit advertising heavy, so using the reader mode on your cell phone browser down at the bottom can really help cut the noise and focus the webpage on the recipe, which makes it a lot easier to read. Speaking of recipes, I will say choosing some type of recipe management system is going to be so much more helpful for you. So whether it's old school index cards or printed PDFs or a file on your phone or computer or an app, it really helps to have a place that's easily accessible to store your recipes, as well as make notes or any changes that you want to make to your recipes. So my favorite is the app Paprika. I've been using it for probably close to 8 years now because it can sync across my computer, my iPhone, and my iPad. And I can easily add recipes directly from the website through its little browser. And you can click to add a recipe to a meal plan. It can create a grocery list for you. And I love that I can go in and tweak the recipe, ingredients, or instructions however I want. You can also categorize your recipes. It's just been game-changing for me. All new recipes that I get go directly into that app, and then I can rate them by stars based on how much my family likes them. So for me, it's super, super helpful. Obviously, I'm not an affiliate or anything, but I just found Paprika to be so helpful. But if you can find some type of recipe management system that is really helpful for you, that I feel like makes the meal planning process a whole lot easier. Speaking of making the meal prep process easier, it's really helpful when you're first getting started with meal planning, or if you have some extra cash that you can spend, that you do some type of meal planning service. So like when we first started, we were doing the family freezer. It's one of the first meal planning services I used, and I loved it because if you're on her email list, she does a lot of free meal planning like downloads, like 12 meals in 2 hours or 10 meals you can make from Aldi in an hour or something like that. And all the meals are freezer based and there is no pre-cooking beforehand. So it is phenomenal. We used to do that a lot when we first got started. Because it's so easy. I would just, grab all the ingredients I need one day. The next day I would sit down, grab her little PDF file, and I would just make all the recipes in like an hour or 2 hours. And I could have like 10 freezer meals stocked in my freezer, so it's super, super helpful. And then sometimes her plans though are a little higher carb. But you can always sub for cauliflower or other ingredients to knock down the carb count. But I will say, just having something stocked in your freezer is so helpful. You can toss it in the crock pot later or Instapot even. Those are super great for freezer meals. An Instapot freezer meal can be cooked in like 45 minutes. So that's super great. We also now use a service called Prep Dish. That's a service we found this last year, and we absolutely love it because my husband wasn't super wild about the melding of flavors when it comes to crockpot meals, When it comes to crockpot meals, he's not an American, so he finds sometimes typical American crockpot food to be kind of blah. So I found Prep Dish, and we especially love it because she caters to so many different meal types like low carb, gluten-free, paleo, super fast. And so their low carb and super fast meals are a game changer for us. I find that the super fast is usually my go-to, and then we can just swap any carby ingredients for lower carb options. So I especially like it because the grocery list is actually set up by aisle as well as a recipe. So if you need to swap an ingredient, you know how much to swap. They also have guidelines for a prep day and then what to do when you cook the dish on the dish day. So you can prep the week's meals on one day of the week and then just quickly throw it all together on dish day. So I really like that a lot because most of the meals take about 30 to 40 minutes to cook the day of dish day. But because everything's already pre-chopped, marinades are already done, everything's already done, it's just really about the cooking time. And so I find it to be so helpful. And my husband enjoys their meals a lot more than the freezer family. They're more varied than the crock pot style, because I will say the freezer family does a really, really good job with making varied crock pot meals. They're not all soupy, for example, but they just don't, my husband doesn't care as much for all of her recipes. So, but I like having a mixture on hand. So I typically have quite a few freezer meals in the freezer, and then we usually do prep dish. So I always have something on hand. So when it comes to meal prepping, I want you to think of your pantry and your freezer as your lifeline for those days when you just don't feel like cooking. Because the more you can prepare ahead of time or have on hand, the less likely you are to reach for something less healthy. So when we come home, nobody knows what's for dinner, I can just reach into the pantry and grab some low carb options for spaghetti or something, and if batch cooking feels overwhelming, you can start small, try prepping just one extra meal or doubling a recipe you already know and love, and then just toss it in the freezer. So the more that you can prep ahead of time, it's just going to make your life a lot less stressful. Okay, now let's talk about temptation. We all have those moments when a bag of chips or cookies is calling our name from the pantry. So how do we avoid temptation? First off, out of sight, out of mind. So don't keep high carb, blood sugar spiking snacks in the house. If it's not there, you can't eat it. So doing a pantry clean out can really help you on your way to your goals. Also, try replacing temptations with your favorites. So swap traditional cookies for a batch of low carb cookies and toss them in the freezer, or keep dark chocolate bars handy. I like to ask, what is the one food you feel that you can't live without, or the one craving you always seem to fall into? So now find a way to make it healthy and keep some on hand. For me, it's always been chocolate, whether cake or candy. So keeping chocolate on hand is super helpful. And stock up on your favorites. So find a few low carb treats that you love and keep them in your freezer or in your pantry for emergencies. Chalk Zero, Bake Believe, and Aldi Keto bars are some of the fave brands that we always keep on hand. And remember, it's about progress, not perfection. It's about setting yourself up for success and giving yourself grace when things don't go as planned. Okay, our last tip of the week will be organizing your kitchen. Now that you know what to stock up on, let's talk about how to make your kitchen blood sugar friendly choices a no-brainer. So first you want to create some zones. Dedicate some specific areas for snacks, meal ingredients, and meal prepped items in your pantry and fridge or freezer. We have a drawer in our fridge for cheeses and sugar-free hot dogs and sausages. We also have a spot for pre-washed and pre-cut veggies. And in our pantry, we also have clear totes for low-carb noodles and riced cauliflower and sauces, and others for veggies and meats. We also have a couple of snack boxes with nuts and chocolates and grab-and-go keto snacks. So everything is clearly accessible and easy to just grab and pull out of the pantry. We like using clear containers to store nuts, seeds, and flowers. This helps them stay fresh, and it can make it easy to see when you're running low. So we do this for our flowers and big boxes of nuts, which is super helpful. We also label everything, and this is really helpful if you have multiple flours or sweeteners or sweetener blends, or once you get into cooking a lot more low carb, you might have some keto flour blends, like we have a pancake blend that we use for our sheet pan pancakes. So having all those things labeled really clearly is really helpful. And then make sure that you have healthy options front and center. So make sure if you haven't done a pantry clean out yet, for example, make sure that your snack boxes are accessible, or like we always have our cheese drawer is super easy to get to. So make sure that the healthiest options are the easiest for you to grab. An organized kitchen can save you time and mental energy and making healthy choices easier to stick to, as well as your budget, because you're going to be using items before they expire and not stocking things that you already have. Okay, friends, so let's recap. Stock your kitchen with staples that support your blood sugar goals. Try to prepare snacks and meals ahead of time to reduce stress. And remember, a little preparation goes a long way in helping you stay on track. Your kitchen is your foundation for success. So this week, try to get started building that solid foundation and take some time to organize, stock up, and prep ahead. Be sure to check the show notes for links to resources like the family freezer, prep dish, and the recipe blog, All Day I Dream About Food. So until next time, stay balanced, stay prepared, and take it one snack at a time.